If you take the most maneuverable aircraft in the world, being the F-22 Raptor, and give it one of the most maneuverable missiles we've ever seen, being the AIM-9X, how does that really act in War Thunder? We're going to dive into that right after you guys hit that like button and subscribe, because only 9% of my current viewers are subscribed. It helps the channel out a lot and means the world to me. Also, if you're interested in joining a Discord, that is linked down below in the description. I appreciate all the support. It means a lot to me. So the F-22 Raptor, as you guys know, is one of the most maneuverable aircraft we have ever seen. It has 2D thrust vectoring and it has high AOA capabilities. The AIM-9X, while not necessarily being the most maneuverable missile anymore, it's still one of the best IR air-to-air missiles the world has ever seen, especially things like the Block 2. In War Thunder, the Block 2 is already in the game, just not on any aircraft. So the thing is, the F-22 Raptor underwent a lot of upgrades, especially later on in its life, to get capabilities it didn't necessarily originally have. The F-22 Raptor, when it first entered service, did not have access to a head-mounted display or head-mounted queuing system, so it did not have the ability for high-off bore sight IR missile launches. It underwent the upgrade to receive the AIM-9X in the mid-2000s, and it got access to a head-mounted display and queuing system in the late 2010s and early 2020s. Obviously, the F-22 Raptor can use the AIM-9X. We saw it use a specialized variant of the AIM-9X when it shot down a Chinese weather balloon several years ago, so it's obvious that the F-22 Raptor can use the most advanced IR missile in the United States service. However, in War Thunder, it's very likely we will just see it arrive with the AIM-9M, and I'm not sure how long we'll see the Raptor be in game until it receives the AIM-9X. Gaijin has said that their plan to balance out 5th gen with 4.5 and 4th gen is going to be to give things like the Eurofighter and all the other 4.5 gen and 4th gen aircraft access to the most advanced Fox 3s and most advanced Fox 2s, which that makes sense. Also, keep in mind, the F-22 Raptor, when it entered service, did not enter service with the AIM-9X originally. It entered service with the AIM-9M. So the F-22 Raptor, at least the first variant, will arrive pretty lackluster in terms of modern avionics. It will not have the AIM-9X. It will not have a head-mounted display, but it should have the AIM-9M, and it should at least have AIM-120 C or D model AMRAAMs. So, at the bare minimum, it's going to have okay munitions. I'm not necessarily worried about what it's going to carry. I will just note, I think the most alarming thing is going to be what Gaijin decides to give things like the F-35 or the J-20 or C-57, especially the J-20 and F-35, because the J-20 did not enter service until 2017, so it entered service with much more modern munitions. Same exact thing with the F-35. The F-35 will receive the most modern Fox 3s in the US arsenal, and the most modern Fox 2s, being the AIM-9X Block 2. Personally, it does make sense to limit the F-22 Raptor, especially on release, especially if they're adding just the first variant like an F-22A or a YF-22, simply because it is more maneuverable than something like the F-35. Now, I do want to note that the F-35 isn't necessarily not maneuverable. It actually is pretty maneuverable. People don't give it enough credit for that. You have a lot of guys that will, call it fat Amy, but I've had plenty of stories and talked to plenty of F-35 pilots that say the aircraft is actually fine. You're just comparing it to things like the F-16 and the F-18, which are some of the most maneuverable 4th gens the world has ever seen. So, in the bleak comparison, the F-35 will be perfectly fine. Now, the F-22, I think it's realistic to say we'll probably have it in the game for a solid year or two before we even see it get the AIM-9X. I do not think we're going to see a very modern version of the F-22 very soon into the game. It just obviously depends. Personally, it makes a lot more sense for Gaijin to add the F-22 in a more limited role off the bat, adding it with the 9M and like the C7 or D, and then limit it out as we go, because eventually when they add the upgraded variant, like the more recent 2020s model of the F-22, not the one that was just proposed being the 2.0, that would receive it things like the upgraded head-mounted queuing system, which I believe is very similar to what the F-18 has, and and overall, that they could give the Raptor the 9X sooner. I think it will depend on how the stats go for the aircraft. Because realistically speaking, they want to keep 4.5 gen and 4th gen on a bit of a more cutting edge when it comes to the munitions than the 5th gens, which they can definitely do with the F-22. They can't really do that with the F-35 or the J-20, and maybe a little bit with the C-57, but that realistically is going to be it. So do expect the Raptor to arrive to War Thunder with just the AIM-9M, not necessarily because Gaijin is air quote trying to nerf the aircraft, but that's just because that's what it carried. There's no reason to see the most advanced F-22 variant arrive off the bat. We obviously won't see that. We will see it arrive with the AIM-9M, and I'm not sure how long it's going to stay with the AIM-9M, but it's going to come with the AIM-9M for sure. Anyways, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Helps the channel out a lot, like I've said, and I really do appreciate it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.